There is a kind of strength that doesn't come from force. It doesn't raise its voice. It doesn't try to control. It doesn't try to convince anyone of anything. It simply stays still, calm, grounded, and lets the world move around it. That's the kind of strength Krishna lived, again and again. Not through pushing outcomes, but through allowing. He didn't chase people. He didn't explain himself. He didn't run after enemies. He simply remained steady, centered in who he was, rooted in purpose, and somehow, the world moved toward him. Even those who wanted to defeat him ended up walking straight into his plan. It's a different kind of wisdom, one that doesn't come from dominance, but from alignment. To be so sure of your path that even your opponents end up meeting you there. That's not magic. That's clarity. When Krishna says, "One who remains steady in both praise and criticism, that person is dear to me," he's not asking us to be passive. He's showing us a deeper kind of power, the kind that doesn't depend on being liked or feared. A presence that stays steady, whether you're honored or ignored. A presence that doesn't react to provocation. One that doesn't need to win arguments because there's nothing to prove. That's real magnetism. Because when you're truly centered, others feel it. Even when you're silent. Especially when you're silent. But the more you try to make people understand you, to validate your truth, to agree with your choices, the more that energy slips away. Not because they are right, but because energy that chases always creates distance. Force pushes. Alignment draws. And Krishna understood that completely. He knew how to wait without fear. How to act without chasing. How to move with strategy, but never with desperation. He knew that when your energy is steady, even conflict has a way of circling back to you. Take the Mahabharata, for example. Before the war began, both Arjuna and Duryodhan came to Krishna. They wanted his support. But Krishna didn't try to persuade either of them. He didn't argue or try to prove who deserved him more. He simply said, "I will not fight. One of you may have my army. The other may have me. I won't lift a weapon, but I will stand by your side if you choose me." Duryodhan, focused only on numbers and strength, chose the army. Arjuna, sensing something deeper, chose Krishna. And in that quiet moment, before a single arrow was fired, the course of the war had already shifted. Not through pressure, not through speeches, but through stillness. That one moment said everything. Krishna didn't need to control the outcome. He just allowed the truth to show itself. He let people reveal who they really were, not through what they said, but through what they chose. That's the power of inner clarity. It doesn't trap anyone. It simply invites, and then watches who arrives. You see, when you are deeply aligned with your own values, people reveal themselves in how they respond to you. The ones meant for you will feel drawn toward that steadiness. The ones who are not ready may push or pull. But either way, you don't need to chase. That's what Krishna teaches us. Stillness is not the absence of action. It's the absence of fear. Krishna moved. He planned. He acted. But he never acted from insecurity. He never forced things to happen. He never believed that movement alone was strength. Because he understood, stillness that comes from truth is stronger than any strategy built on fear. So what does that mean for you and me, in the middle of ordinary life? It means you don't need to explain yourself to everyone. You don't need to chase approval. You don't have to beg someone to see your worth. What you need is to stay close to your own center. Close enough to hear what matters. Close enough not to abandon yourself for someone else's attention. Because the moment you step away from your own truth, just to be accepted, you lose something far more important than approval. Sometimes, life tests you in quiet ways. Through distance, through silence, through people pulling away when you wanted them to stay. But that's not failure. That's the invitation to come closer to yourself. To stop chasing what doesn't need chasing. To start trusting what will always return to you, if it's meant to. Krishna reminds us, the people who are meant for you will come. Not because you convinced them, but because they recognized something steady in you. Something they couldn't find anywhere else. Even conflict, even opposition, even people who once resisted you, they all have a way of returning when you remain rooted in what's true. Because being still doesn't mean being passive. It means you're strong enough not to be moved by every storm. Krishna didn't shout to be understood. He didn't force loyalty. He didn't run after those who walked away. He simply lived his truth and allowed people to come or not come. And still, they came. Again and again. Because even those who doubted him couldn't escape the gravity of that calm center. So if today you feel like chasing something, someone's attention, someone's love, someone's understanding, maybe the wiser path is to return. Return to your own alignment. Return to your stillness. Return to the part of you that doesn't need anyone else's approval to feel whole. Because that version of you, the one who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't prove, that's the version the world is quietly drawn to. Even if they don't realize it yet. And that's why Krishna never needed to run after anyone. He didn't have to. Because the world always finds its way back to where truth lives.